Is a plant-based or vegan diet healthier than a diet that includes animal products? Does dairy and meat cause cancer? There are many controversial opinions among scientists floating online. Is there any reliable scientific evidence from either side? What's your take on this? There seems to be a very clear correlation between red meat, high consumption of red meat, and cancer. The problem with these studies is that most of these studies, if not all of them, are sponsored by various corporations. In the 1960s in the US, doctors used to say that uh, doctors used to advertise their favorite brand of tobacco, of cigarette, Camel, and so on. You can see the ads online. Even today, you can see that on Google if you do a Google search. So doctors and the medical industry have, for the longest time in the West, in the US, been co-opted and paid to push out propaganda. And today, even today, you have the meat industry hiring doctors and paying them to come up with various studies which are published in medical journals, scientific journals. We don't quite know how accurate these studies are and how true they are. It's always possible to fudge the data, to cherry pick certain cases and ignore certain cases. So we don't know. There are so many opinions among scientists. But what seems to be the case from my perspective is that the more vegetables you eat, the healthier you are. And the less meat you eat, the healthier you are. Of course, you need protein. You can consume more dairy or more legumes to get your protein. You can get your full protein profile that you need for a day from a completely plant-based diet that has been more or less proven now, right? The meat industry disagrees with that. They will have scientists who will say that you will not get your complete protein profile, your full protein profile, only from eating legumes and vegetable and plant products. You need some meat or dairy. Typically meat. They'll push meat. That's not quite the case. So from my perspective, from everything I've read and studied over the decades, my perspective is that if you minimize your intake of red meat or meat, and if you maximize the amount of plant based food you eat, you're going to be healthy. The more plants you eat, the more plant based food you eat, the healthier you are. And that's something I think most studies do bear up with. They do show that. So my opinion, it's again an opinion. I have not done actual research on this. I've only read lots of research about this. So from all I've read, this is what I feel. This is what I have concluded. You need to eat lots of plant-based food. If you are a meat eater, try and eat more white meat and minimize the amount of red meat that you eat. And dairy would be actually better because dairy can give you all the protein you need. Dairy doesn't seem to cause cancer. Red meat seems to cause cancer, right? So that's what makes sense to me from my perspective.